All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Southbridge Board of Health meeting. Today is Thursday, April 10th, 2025, 6 p.m. in the Veterans Room. Relative to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, and for the benefit of the public, this meeting is being recorded by both video and audio, I hope. Roll call, please.
Gil Provost.
Present.
Roland Larochelle.
Present.
Kevin Spillane.
Present.
Gus Steves.
Present.
Jasmine Canonis.
Okay, we have a quorum. Okay, agenda number 3. I'll entertain a motion to open a public hearing for adoption of section 5.5.7 uninhabitable units into the Board of Health Code of Regulations, Chapter 2, storage and disposal of solid waste, and take any action. Did you get the premature motion and second?
Yep, I did.
Okay. All right. For the people at home, I want to read this. 5.5.7 uninhabitable units. And I want to just say that we sat and talked about this to give landlords some relief from the solid waste rule should they have an unforeseen problem. So this section reads as follows. The owner of effective unit or units must complete all necessary application paperwork to be considered for this exemption. Unit or units must be enrolled in the town's residential curbside collection program. Units are deemed uninhabitable by the town due to the following unanticipated events. A, unit sustained fire damage. B, unit sustained flood damage. C, unit sustained damage from a natural disaster. D, any other situation is deemed by the Board of Health. Such situation in Section D must be brought forward to the Board of Health as an appeal at a public meeting. The board shall be the sole entity allowed to grant exemptions by a majority vote of the board. Upon approval, the waste and recycling containers shall be removed from by the solid waste department. To be reinstated into the program, all reoccupancy/permit paperwork must be completed and submitted to the solid waste department. The waste and recycling containers shall then be returned to the property at no cost to the owner. Accounts with delinquent bills are not entitled to this regulation. Any owner that wishes to opt out of the curbside program must adhere to Section 5.5.3. So now we'll open up to the board if there's any comments, concerns, additions, deletions.
I have one. Under the section where it says accounts with delinquent bills, I would add until those bills are paid. Because if they pay them off fairly soon,
No,
but their house is destroyed,
it doesn't matter. Once their bill is paid, they can apply.
that's what I mean.
But you don't have to have it in here, because if you're delinquent, the application will not be accepted. And that's too much wording and
Too much verbiage.
side stuff. We're not gonna make this difficult, because they're not entitled if they owe money. When they pay the bill, come and see us. That's what that is. Nobody else on the board? Anybody in the public?
Yes,
Kevin?
Kevin Buxton. I was a little curious when I saw the announcement for this public hearing that questions and comments were to be submitted in writing. Previously, quite a few years ago, I did submit some questions and comments to DEP during landfill times. I'll admit, I haven't invested as much time in the Board of Health as I used to. I was on 2 curbside advisory program, ad hoc committees, sustainability, landfill oversight. I was just kind of surprised to see that that if this is the new format, that public hearings are going to request questions and comments in writing. I'll abide by that new procedure. It's just I found it rather uncommon. As far as the
Let me just explain that part.
sure.
That is there for people who we heard this, or we talked about this 2 months ago on the agenda. and then we have the public hearing after the board decided on verbiage to come forward. That writing is there for people who are unable to attend.
Okay. All right. I appreciate the fact that I was
Yeah.
told it was up to the chair, if the chair permitted.
Because you're attending, and if you have something to say, it's on the recording.
Yeah.
So if you're not here, then it would be in writing, and that would go into the minutes.
Yeah. By law, we can't stop it.
The change to the bylaw itself, I can understand.
It's not a change. This
Oh, it's
is
an
a new
addition.
article. It's an
New article.
addition.
I can understand, situations such as these where catastrophic loss of a unit is visible. I did come tonight to make, because there was talk about, well, if an apartment is empty, it's empty, and I should not have to get a total or anything. I find that problem, even back when we were in curbside advisory, it's problematic, because if a landlord comes and says, my apartment's empty, it's empty, but at what point does it become reoccupied? I appreciate.
That's not what, that's not
I
what this
appreciate
is.
the board's work in putting this language into the bylaw to give some relief to those people who have catastrophic loss of their property. And thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Going once, going twice? Okay. So since we have no more input, I would entertain a motion to roll call.
Do we get any comments?
Nope. I have received nothing. I would like to vote of the board to adopt this as written.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous of those present. Okay, thank you. I will entertain a motion to close the public
So
hearing.
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay.
Unanimous, thank you. All right, we will now go to the minutes. Number 5. Consider and accept the minutes as written for January 9, 2025.
Second.
Jesus, you guys.
Why do you need to record it? Okay, any discussion on this?
No.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept as written.
So moved. Motion, so moved.
You already motioned.
Okay, all in favor?
Whatever.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
That's done. All right, we'll move to number 6. Consider and accept the minutes from February 13, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion,
Patty, thank you.
corrections, deletions?
What?
Thank you for figuring this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Ugh.
Motion second.
Okay, no discussion, comments, concerns? All in favor?
I did what I could.
Unanimous. You had help.
I did. You helped me. Thank you.
Very smart.
How do you do it?
Very careful.
Okay,
Day by day.
Hey.
number 7, consider and accept the minutes from March 13, 2025.
Second.
This is a race tonight.
Somebody got something to do tonight?
No, so I'll talk slower.
Thank you.
Okay, any concerns, deletions?
Just one little thing is I think under section number 5, we really should identify Joan by a last name as well. It's not her first name.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Get that. Throw last name
Good thinking, Joe.
Okay,
in there.
so if we can just, Hamlin,
What is it?
let me just check.
Yeah, it's still him.
Let me just check for the correct spelling. Hamlet, Hamlett.
Yep.
Is that it?
That's what I was
Anything else? Okay, all those in favor as amended? Okay, unanimous, thank you very much. Moving on. Citizens Forum, if there's anyone in the audience that wants to talk about anything that's not on tonight's agenda. Couldn't see. Mr. Buxton?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would take this opportunity to ask the board, I realize the curbside pickup program was a hurdle, and I think the health department has done great at keeping it on track. I would like to ask the board to review and try to implement a bylaw that's been on the books since, I believe, 1978, which is the mandatory recycling bylaw. All right?
That has been in the works, and notification has been going out by the solid waste agent to remind everybody, and she has started with the multiple family units above the 6 families. So that process of re-notification to remind them that it is law and mandatory.
Okay. So all commercial haulers are being informed that if they have a dumpster, they need to do recycling.
It's going to the property owner. If I'm not mistaken by the law, and you can correct me, it's mandatory for recycling in the town of Southbridge. You hire a hauler, they must make recycling available to you.
At no cost.
If you say no, it's on you, not the hauler, because you're the contracting agent. So that's where the enforcement of the bylaw would be on the property owner, not the hauler.
Not the hauler. I'll have to review the bylaw again. I thought it specified that any place, as a matter of fact, if I do recall when the trash container out here in front of the town hall was put in, I had mentioned to somebody
Yeah.
in the health department that any place that you collect trash, you need to have a recycling, and the recycling is there. I
Right.
will say there, Central Street parking lot, same situation. You have
Correct.
trash, you have a recycling. I will say there are some containers around that don't have associated recycling.
We have already located some residentials that have one dumpster for trash, and notices were going out in chunks.
Okay. And like I said, I'll have to review the bylaw itself. I thought it specified haulers as well. Because, so in a situation where you have a hauler's dumpster, can you go to the health department and ask for a recycling quota?
No. Because if you have a dumpster, you're not in the curbside program. And that's supposed to be supplied by, if you're paying for a dumpster,
Yeah.
you're not getting a dumpster for free. So you're supposed to get that recycling bin for free from your contract, within your contract.
All right, I thank the board for its time.
Okay. Is there anybody else?
I understand the mandatory recycling thing. How is that being enforced residential?
What do you mean?
Say I throw a tin can in my trash. Are they
We're
going through
not-
my trash to find the tin can?
We're not going through the trash, but
This is what I'm asking, so how
if
is
you
it
don't,
mandatory?
if you are in the curbside program and you don't have a recycling bin, then there's gonna be a notice gone out to you to say you should be recycling. It's a bylaw of the town of
So,
Southbridge.
I understand that every household is supposed to have a recycling bin. But what I'm saying is, how is it enforced to the point of mandatory?
All I can say is the best that it can be.
Mr. Chairman, if I could give some history, I believe the reason the mandatory recycling is from 1978 is 1978 was when the town of Southbridge went from having their facility, their burn facility on Town Dump Road, to taking the Corvo family farm and turning it into a municipal solid waste. And I think it was at that time that the state said, well, if you're gonna take 96 acres of land and turn it into your landfill, we'd like to see mandatory recycling. So it was put on the books, it was never.
No, and I understand that part of it.
I don't
And I
read-
know how it all started.
Yeah.
I'm just asking, how is it being enforced at the residential level? I mean, you got a recycling bin, yes, but is they gonna, like, is we're just gonna have Ray go to my house and go through my trash to find a tin can.
I wouldn't,
Glass of water.
Negative.
You know, I mean,
It's strictly.
They will.
it's, let me put it to you this way, it is enforced like any other law. How is the speeding law enforced? Once in a
Test it.
while.
that's
But I,
a little different.
It's kind of an incentive to try to get people to recycle. And I think it really came to fruition when we got,
I get
The
it.
trash.
The mandatory thing really just,
And it
it's a
is
requirement that people recycle in this town and we try to get it done to the best we can.
Yeah.
That's,
It is a financial
I just wanted
situation.
a definition
Oh, yeah.
of how mandatory work.
It is a financial situation because we pay, I believe it's $120 a ton to get rid of our recycling.
Yep.
And we pay $160 a ton to get rid of trash. So as long as you're recycling, you're saving the town $40 a ton.
and it's an environmental thing as well.
Well,
So whichever way you want to look at it, it's a plus,
yeah,
so.
I certainly hope our Southbridge first doesn't mean that we don't still part of the earth, part of the world.
Anything else? Nobody else? Okay, move on. Number 9. Vote to appoint Christopher Hart as a sanitary/health inspector, MS 13 for the Southbridge Board of Health, pending appointment by the town council.
So moved.
second,
Okay, there has been several meetings with Mr. Hart. Mr. Hart is here tonight.
Can you tell us anything?
And the town manager, I don't remember, I think next Monday is the council meeting.
It is.
So the town manager requested that we entertain this pending so he can get to work. Mr. Hart, you want to come up and say a few words to the board?
No pressure.
So I'm technically right now on the law enforcement side of public safety. I'm looking to use those same
He failed the
tools.
firefighter exam.
My investigative status, my report writing, my customer service. I feel like all those tools would be beneficial to this position.
Don't forget your people skills on what you had that you spoke in your resume about de-escalating
Yes,
training and things like that.
In law enforcement, we take a lot of de-escalating training. A lot of people just want to be heard. So the main point is listen to what their concerns are and then try to work with them. Obviously, still enforcing what you need to enforce.
And then most of the requirements, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan, a lot of the requirements that he's going to be doing, he's going to get online. Part of on-the-job training, just like
Coupled with that, of course.
the last person in the position.
Yes.
Okay.
We will follow the same training methodology and techniques.
Do we have a deadline for making sure that he gets everything that he needs to get done?
That is going to be up to the town manager, who is the appointing. We are here to appoint him as a agent of the Board of Health. So his job requirements is set forth by the town, not the Board of Health. So that will be up to Hetty, the town manager, and the rest of them to make sure that he gets on board.
So I'm asking, do we have like a specific time?
3 days.
No, he will get his qualifications before he needs them. That's all I can say. Because it goes by, there's certain things that he has to have before he does it.
Yeah, I get it.
Which I think is just a safe certification. And after that, anything he gets beyond that just opens him up for more avenues.
With benefits
With benefits, which is good.
Besides him.
Right, yeah.
So as far as, so what exactly are the requirements of the sanitary health?
That you could ask Dan. Our actual requirements that we used for the ad were written probably 50 or 60 years ago.
You mean a job description? That was completely incorrect.
Exactly.
Very-
Right?
yeah.
So it doesn't really cover what the position really is. It's just, that's what we have. That's, most towns have written them years ago.
So is that something that we would want to sit down and look at every night?
No, you don't wanna do that.
That's a can of worms.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Because the training will be staged.
Yeah.
So it also is contingent upon how a candidate responds, all right? So it does take time, with many variables and factors involved. But to give you an example, through all the aspects of public health, I'm gonna start with housing, transition into food, Title V, swimming pools. But what I can say, predominantly, the public health front that Chris is going to learn first and need to be proficient on is the housing inspections, in addition to public health nuisances, okay? We can even roll blight into that, okay? And what I can say, and even in the early stages of my development, it takes time. Now, it's going to be a combination of homework, take home, studying, and also the field work. Actual work done in the field with actual cases. So what we're gonna start with, I can say right now, is just starting point, the preliminary, the fundamentals of public health, the fundamentals of operations within the town hall and the municipality.
You should probably sort of have some knowledge now, so. I
Well,
mean, you got some knowledge of that now. But-
Oh, yes, certainly, but, I mean, the requisite would be, you know, when the candidate starts.
Yeah, of course.
And I think Chris will respond very well and be a quick learner.
Okay.
And that's why I think he's demonstrated himself as a leading candidate through the interview process. I think he's certainly equipped to tackle this, the challenges and the duties of the health.
How many responses did we get?
Excuse me?
How many responses did we get?
We got, I believe, four, yes. Which was lower than the previous
Okay.
process years ago.
Okay.
And multiple candidates.
Were any of those people already sanitary health inspectors?
No. No. That's a difficulty in this profession, to find someone that has the experience,
Yeah, I'm sure.
okay?
Unfortunately, public.
You have to enter the field somewhere, you have to get in quote unquote green,
Yeah.
okay? And that's just the way it is. And development does take time because of all the scientific needs, all the needs to understand law,
Right.
apply inspectional techniques, so on and so on. So to actually become proficient as a health inspector, sanitarian, 3 years, 4 years, easily. And that's in development stage, that's where we count on someone that I think you are, is someone that will take the time and have patience leading up to the 3 years.
Well, that's important.
Many believe after a year or even earlier, they know it all, and that's very untrue.
Oh, I'm sure that's true.
And those ones, the know-it-alls, don't seem to make it.
Okay.
And the other thing too that a lot of departments are doing in the trade in general, they're going out to inspect with iPads that are preloaded.
Yep.
So it takes the opinion out of the question. What did they find for a deficiency? And that would pull up the Mass General laws. Yep, that applies. So then that way it takes the opinions out and it helps out in court and it creates a good standard.
Okay. And we have those iPads that's over.
I think we have that, right? No?
Not yet.
Not
We don't
yet.
have that.
But I know Teddy wants it and we have avenues to get it.
The building department.
Is that
has-
currently
Yeah, we
in the
got the
budget?
department one now, which we're building off of, so
We used to have them.
the health department will be getting.
We used to have them.
Yeah.
but that's what the whole trade is starting to go to.
Yeah.
So it's a consistent standard,
And it should be.
yeah.
The position is also, you know, you go out for candidates, it's slim pickings because it's such a high demand.
Sure.
There's very few people that are qualified, just like building commissioners. There's not a lot of us out there. So when a position comes up, there could be 19 different towns looking for the same thing.
Right.
You have to train them. You gotta train them as you're going, because they're not out there. So,
Unfortunately, that's true.
Okay, anything else? You don't have anything else to say? Nothing? Okay, in that case, all in favor? Opposed? Keep your hand down. Thank you, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Nice job, Chris.
Now finish your ethics. I did mine the other
Look
day.
what I wrote. I have to do mine too.
Remind me to say something about that after, because I get confused on that point. Okay, number 10, Director. The Director of Health, Wozniak's report. A, Blade update, update on COVID and any other infectious contagious diseases.
Thank you, Chair. This data, which indicates incidence of infectious diseases, with this, I hope you've all looked at it. What is most notable is the decrease in influenza. Last month reported from 2/1 to 2/28, we had 164 cases. That has decreased to 43. Unfortunately, a little bit of an uptick with COVID. Last month, we had 9, and the number of cases this month reported has increased to 11. Something to watch. Along the lines, there is the emergence of anaplasmosis, which is a tick-borne infection, as it did show up. And with my research here, the tick season has begun. And there has already, through the University of Rhode Island, increase of tick sightings in late March in New England. So hopefully this is not a prelude for things to come. But I too have also experienced a couple ticks hiking. And we've had other people in town hall indicating that ticks have been hatched, black-legged ticks, the deer ticks, yeah. Well, right now, they'd be at their stage, they're immatures, they're called nymphs. They're really tiny, but here we go. Hopefully, it's not that type of season. But what I may add, the town's parks have been treated already by a pest control company specifically for the activity of ticks. And they too believe that it's going to be a challenging season.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a quick question as far as, you list 3 cases of TB.
Yes. Well, the TB is suspect. So when TB traditionally, the activity that's associated with surveillance and control of it lasts a long time.
Yeah.
So it's all to be recorded. So those cases can traditionally be this 1, 2 people, 3, and that just carries over from month to month. They're not new cases. These are the ones that have emerged, okay, months ago, but are still recorded in Maven because they haven't been closed out.
Okay, so they're not, okay.
Any other questions?
Okay, Blade update.
Late update. So I'm happy to report on 743 Main Street. The building has been boarded up, thanks to building commissioner and the building department. And the exterior is going to be cleaned. As I indicated before, a lot of trash, rubbish, extraneous items from tires, along with other things, but we won't name. So it just needs a clean. On the positive there, I have been going there to monitor once or twice a week. I have not seen an overabundance of trash buildup. It's slowly, and no new signs of it like dumping. The tires that have been there need to be removed, but they haven't added to.
They have been removed. The
Oh, they have?
yeah,
Okay,
tires
good.
are gone. The gentleman that's doing the remodel at 757, he was cleaning up what we made him clean up the debris that he took out of the building. And while he was doing it, he said, I'll just get rid of the tires. and all
Fantastic.
that," So,
So it's
You knew you were
the
mad.
yard area, and a lot of
I was
it
really mad.
is the trash wind blown that's collected over time, and that needs to be. So it's a good indicator. Ted, I was speaking with Kayla and Mike about, Jerry, you had questions about the marking pertaining to the fire department. Well, you did, Kevin. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner. A caution marking for the fire department,
Yep.
put a caution marking, not an
Correct.
that indicates structural
Structural deficiencies.
Yeah, okay.
He
It's a
has-
slash,
it's
right?
just a slash.
It's a slash, which means there may be some deficiencies in there, use caution.
Yeah.
There's not supposed to be anybody living there, there may be deficiencies, use caution.
Understood.
In X means it is bad, you do not go in unless you see somebody visually in that window going, help me.
So with that slash being attached,
Yes.
we're on to some of the last steps. I don't think there's any evidence of anyone getting in there
No.
because the boarding has been done really well.
The other issue is, when we're having the site cleaned, we're having all the brush removed. So we're gonna have good visual of the building from all sides, instead of having to try and cut through all that. So when they're done cleaning, it's gonna be open. And I'm hoping to get it moved on in some way or another. And I'd rather not see it boarded up there all the time.
Right.
I'd rather see it get improved.
Fixed. Yep.
We'll move it somehow.
Is that building decent shape for any days?
It's got some very nice character inside, actually.
Okay, so that's 7:43. What else we got?
That really has been the one that's been on the forefront. The other cases that were on the blight list, I mean, there's a whole range where they're still in court. It's taking time, everything from the Attorney General's office and even intrinsically here in Town Hall, the departments and the processes that are going legally slow. I do have positive news with the mill.
Yep.
It has been indicated that the town finally owns that property, and now we can proceed with the corrective actions that are needed.
Because I did see that was on the brownfield study was on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And perhaps the commissioner can elaborate, I mean,
We have meetings set up for a number of properties that are on our list that we've been addressing. We do have a meeting with the attorneys. I think they were talking about Tuesday. So then we're all gonna get together, we're gonna decide what exactly our steps are, what we're planning on doing with 30 mil. I'm not sure if it's a sale, or if it's a cleanup and then sell, or we have to go through with the attorneys because the laws have changed on that stuff. So we wanna make sure we make the right decision and the fastest one to try and get something positive going in that section. Same thing, 743, it turns out the deed on that one is in pretty rough shape. So the attorneys, we were gonna take it, tax take it, but we can't because paperwork is all upside down. And it would take us years to go through land court and everything, so we're not gonna go that route on that. Hopefully, the lawyer says that I can give the number out to some contractors that do stuff like that and rebuild things like that, and they can have their attorneys take care of it. they can do the process while they're repairing it. But, I mean, we're taking, there's a lot of bites we have to take, and we need to step back, and we need to make sure we're doing it right.
Right, well, of course.
So,
What do you think of the chances of actually being able to salvage the number?
what do I think?
Yeah.
No,
Get into-
no. We actually visited it 2 days ago,
Okay.
and Mike and I walked through the back, and it's coming apart in more areas than people really know.
Sure.
So, the end result is you'd have to get an engineer to get in there in a chapter 34 review. I have actually contacted structural engineers and no one will set foot in the building. So,
So,
good luck with that.
There was some very dangerous, sketchy work done by
I'm sure
some
there were, yeah.
so-called handymen
Yeah.
when it went from one type of occupancy to another, and how it's still
Yeah.
standing is beyond me.
Yeah.
It's kind of shocking, but it's on its way.
Yeah, yeah.
so with that said, I mean, what we are faced with is that it's prudent just to have the legal process go through, and we just have to exhibit patience at this point. But we do continue to monitor these locations. There's further degradation or something worse. So they're just sitting idle. And for example, the 12 Langlois, that is very similar to the other case, really tied up in probate court. And we have our team attorneys on it. So again, we're aiding patiently.
From what I've seen since we've started teaming up and doing things the way we're doing, a lot of things are getting done. A lot of things are moving in the right direction, which is why we sent out our letter for cleanups. You know, we sent out over 800. It's all for 3-family and above, to try and get some of these yards cleaned up. You know,
Can
there's
I
been a lot of
ask-
kickback on it, but.
Can I ask a favor?
Yes.
Because I know myself, the first I heard and saw the letter was on social media.
Okay, yeah.
And I got politely
Chastised.
clotheslined 4 times going shopping in Big Y
You guys want big money?
with some, then it would have been more. But the point is that people were wondering what the hell it is. Do I have trash? Did everybody get these? I didn't get one, and I could not supply any answers.
I got you. Yep. Next time
You know,
I'll give
so
you-
it could have been quelled if I knew what it was about. Because subsequently I found out
Yeah.
that it was started as nothing to do with curbside. It started with 3 families because under the building code, 3-family is commercial and up. And this was a reminder for everybody out there to do your due diligence. And if I knew that, I could have quelled a lot of the angry people that I saw that I had to hold off with frozen meat.
My apologies.
So that was,
My apologies. Next time you will know.
please.
Whoa, Jake.
All we have to do is have a, you know, it's not hard that we just get a CC with, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, because when it comes to trash, people are all upset and they aim the crosshairs at the
Yeah.
board and the health aid, the solid waste agent. And this was unknown.
Yeah, we did
So-
send it upstairs, and that's my fault that we didn't send it to you guys. We should have sent it to you guys too.
Well, he's not here, so blame the upstairs.
Okay, I'll blame you upstairs.
Okay. So we'll send him an email and say smarten up. Okay, all right, what else do you have on the blight? Do you have it on what he's discussed yet?
Yeah.
Oh,
I had to wait till it finishes.
I'm good.
My only thing, Dan, I know a lot of our blighted properties now, we've been handling court, attorneys, whatever, or we've turned them over to the commissioner and his department. What's the status on that 272 South Street? Are we still active on top of him?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Because
And that.
I know there's no activity going on there.
I had a discussion.
Oh, that's
Another
270.
discussion.
270.
Sorry.
Another discussion.
72.
So as I
It's
told the board last month, subsequent to every order, I get reactivity from that individual. And at this time, I think we're at a standstill, because let's just say there was there was an incentive for him to do it based on the fines that go with the orders that I issue. And as I indicated, the fines are amounting. The cumulative effect now is over 1,000. So my plan is to continue that. I've seen small improvements. Okay? So there are these baby steps. What I'm trying to say is I'm hoping to see better results and quicker results, just as the board. The
But that
individual
being- that
are
being said-
reluctant, and unfortunately, they are issued a fine each time of $250. And at some point in time, it's going to just move to court. Okay? Because the issuance and the punitive damages still are not having the effect that I would like to see. But yet again, the individual does take the time and discuss things with me, and it's not just completely apathetic and, you know. And, well, the promises to correct, the movement to correct has just not bared much fruit, and here we are.
So do you think, in your opinion, and I'm not just pointing out this property, but in general, because this isn't the first time we've had this, do you think what's your opinion if we increase the fines, not dollar amount, but time zone, instead of once a month? Maybe frequent,
Well, the
twice a month,
frequency, yes, right
is
now,
that
we're looking at it twice a
bad
month,
or
so
not?
I've increased from once, right? Hoping that twice would send the message and get compliance. And what I can tell you is I've seen the initiative, the small initiative,
Which is good.
which is good. And in alignment with that, the results being of someone coming to my office to discuss the matter continuously, okay?
Every
So,
time he gets a
and-
violation.
So I'm optimistic and hopeful, okay? But again, the results, I just don't see it, you know, of obtaining full compliance. Now, consequently, that will be a $250 fine. And as we are in a position now, those fines are not paid at the end of the year. They turn into a municipal charges lien. And like I said, we're well over $1,000. It can get into the levels of 2,000, 3,000. And it's all spelled out in the order, and unfortunately, we're headed there. If not, we don't take that course, then the other is to go to housing court through our attorney and ask the court to focus on a state sanitary code and have that implemented. So that is another route we can take.
I think
Here
right
we
now,
are,
though.
here we are, and truthfully, that's where we are.
The baby steps I'm not interested in, to be honest with you, as a taxpayer in this town. This has been going on for a long time. Yes. Every time you get a ticket, you come in and cry on Dan's towel on his shoulder, but he doesn't do a damn thing about it. And this is unfair to the neighborhood. The neighbors have been putting up with this for years. Never mind the harassment and other issues that is beyond the town.
Right.
He's violating the damn rules. He's violating the codes. It's a blight bylaw. It's bringing down property values in the neighborhood. And baby actions over 3 months is, in my opinion, no action. And this is not fair to anybody. And damn right. Keep giving him the fines if he doesn't worry about. I don't care if you go there once a week and start compiling this and just drive. You go there once a week, look at it, take a picture. It hasn't changed. Okay? We have rules and regulations for a reason, and this guy has been blighting the neighbors for years. And nobody has gone after him, and he's got complacent about it. And when you get the complacent people, I think it's time that we come down with a big hammer and
Sure,
stop putting on the
So
frosting.
we finding him once a month or twice a month right now, currently.
Twice, and that, step that up. So, we start with an act responsive regulation where we start with less coercive, approaches, right? And then we gradually increase. That's.
Well, I understand it, but we're way
And
past
now,
gradually.
and let me point out the legalities of it. The individual that I talked to is not the legal owner. He is a legal occupant there.
You talking a second floor occupant?
Was a family member, but
Yes.
the property is owned by the parents.
Yep.
I have not had a discussion with the parents or interactions, the legal owners. So the individual that comes is a family member.
Oh, the individual
is-
that comes here.
He comes here, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
That acts for the family as
Where
point
the
person.
blight's coming from.
So the difficulty there, so there's a little mix, but yet again, I do agree, they have not shown a full effort to comply. It's been a lag time of, you said, years.
Years. Have you brought there's metal 55-gallon barrels in there? Has that been investigated by anybody like across the street on what the hell is in it? Is it motor oil that's rotting alongside the unregistered vehicles? There's gotta be other avenues to take to really, how do they say it? Put a bigger carrot in front of him to do what's right for himself and the neighbors.
The carrot that you refer to is, in my experience, if someone is, again, not interested in paying the penalties and simply believing they will magically go away or they will not be attached, they're simply wrong. That will happen. And he's been advised that will happen. So with that said, the next approach that we do see results is petitioning the court to enforce the state sanitary code. That has to be done through the attorney. And that's
Has anybody looked into those barrels? And then if you've got hazardous waste outside in contaminated barrels, then you make a phone call to DEP and now it's up. And I've seen that done before because obviously he is not scared of you or this town.
Agreed. That makes sense.
I would be reluctant to be on his property at this point to investigate the barrels.
Well, I'd ask
And I don't know
across the
what-
street,
What barrels you're referring to, because I have not been in the back to actually ascertain what some of the commingled rubbish involves. I do see vehicles and I see elevations, but to go through all of that and ascertain what could be hazardous.
I know at
and
one
what
point I
could
could see 2 barrels from the street.
be, you know.
Through the chair, why don't we sit down and I can see if we can add some of the building regulations to it, depending on what's back there.
And how about the fire regulations?
Well, that's what I wanna see.
That's what I
wanna see
mean.
if there's a fire load back there, see what
Correct.
that is, see what the building, it depends on how the structure is in the back, if it's always too close to the house, it's got fire setbacks, we got all that stuff, so
Exactly.
we can kind of throw that at it too. I'd have to go
I'm
out and
saying
inspect
bigger
it.
shovel,
Yeah. we'll
to
make
work
a-
with.
Yeah, we'll put a bigger shovel, a little more teeth into it, and
exactly, because obviously he doesn't care about the shovel that you've been working with.
Right. Is this the property that has the street in the back?
I don't know, I
Yes.
haven't been to the property, so.
Yeah. So I've been there and without obtaining an administrative warrant and really getting back there,
No. but if you-
I've asked to get back there with him, and we had scheduled a number of times, so I could go out there and pinpoint what I feel is the most hazardous, what needs to be taken. And again, that has not been
Can we
able
ask
to
the
bear any
neighbor to
fruit,
bid on their property
and
and see
I
if we're gonna get their property?
reluctant to do it, so here we are. So perhaps if the board feels that way, then certain measures may be taken, and I will put it, I will speak with the commissioner, see what we can do, and then eventually before next month we revisit this, we'll have to take it through the court process. And the owners can speak with the judge. That way too, I may add, if we do that, we can also have the fines addressed on the spot.
I mean, the
It's
town
something to
has
think
come leaps and bounds in the right direction in the last several years. And we have just a couple of sores, if you will, that continue to fester and ruin the neighborhoods. And it's about time to have them surgically removed, and like you say, bigger teeth on the shovel, if that's what it takes. And I don't disagree, I don't agree, I mean, I agree with you that you don't go in swinging a hammer.
Yeah.
You try to play the game, but when playing Dr. Phil doesn't work, it's time to play Judge Judy. And I think we're at that point right now with this
Yeah.
one thing. Because personally, yeah, personally, you know, I feel bad because I'm constantly hearing from neighbors. And you know what, if that was my neighbor, I don't know what I'd do. I don't know how they're not filing suits on their own, because it's terrible, especially if you keep up your property and you have visions of getting rid of your own. Do you have something?
I'll let Derek go first.
Thank you.
Just a question, because I'm sitting here listening to all this. I know what property you're talking about. You said you haven't talked to the property owners?
Well, the property owner, right, it's the family member that acts on behalf of the property owners.
How does that family member act on behalf of them?
Because he's an occupant, he's a legal occupant. And
He's a legal occupant of the house, yes, but he's not the property owner.
Right.
So, don't you have to talk to the property owner before you
Well,
go to court?
the court will order the legal owners. It will take that individual, he can go to court with them, but when you petition the court, it will be the legal owners. It will be their chance to speak with the judge.
So I guess my ultimate question on this is, does the legal owners even know that this is happening?
Obviously,
Yes,
they
are.
do.
They have,
How do they know? If-
Because
They get
the
the
fines was sent to the owners.
yeah. They are
Obviously, the
accepting-
owners
They are accepting
got it.
service.
They said
And
that this
send-
guy can represent the property?
No, they send the guy to do their pleading because they have received the orders. The orders have gone to the owners. Now, this guy doesn't have power of attorney.
This is what I'm asking, because
Yeah.
he doesn't have.
But
power
I'm
of attorney.
saying-
How is he legally fighting this fight?
He's not legally
not.
fighting
He's not
anything
legally
yet.
fighting
not.
anything. He's representing, so when I, again, order the correction order, it is going to those two individuals, okay?
And I think representing is the wrong word. His parents are getting the orders. He's coming in to cry please
Huh.
in their parents' behalf.
On
I don't
behalf,
think it's,
right.
it's
Family
not
fight,
representation.
And it will not
So-
certainly be legal representation when it goes to court.
Right.
The judge and the court system, the housing court, will want the legal owners who are cited legally to appear for that.
So being in somewhat of the same situation, somebody representing my mother, I'm the one that's legally in charge. But nobody ever talked to me about stuff. This was before you came. This is what I'm saying.
Well, and again, my technique is to get compliance. And when an individual appears over and over, and I know he lives there, okay, and I know he's family, and he's representing his mom and dad, which could be disabled
Very
or
fair.
elderly. So that's the only avenue of a point of contact that I have. Because again, the legal owners have not come out and are unwilling to discuss it. But that will change when it does go in court. Unless the individuals appoint an attorney or legal counsel.
Anybody else on this?
I'm just curious, are these landlord out of state,
No.
as in, no?
No,
They live in a house.
Oh, but you said that the son lives in the house.
It's a two-family.
Oh, okay.
in the building, yeah.
That's what's really aggravating.
Gotcha.
They look out their back window and see the same thing the neighbors see every day.
Okay.
And the items, what in my opinion, is attributable to the individual that I see. His items. And
I agree with that.
that's
Just by the way
really,
he
that's my,
talks.
that's my premise.
By the way he talks to us
My
when he comes
opinion.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
It's all set on that one?
yep.
I got something. I brought this property up at least since November. Been fine on as far as I'm concerned. This is a slap in the face, so I'd like to make a motion.
You talking to 270?
Yep. I'd like to make a motion, please, that we put an order of conditions on the property owner, that he has until our May 8th meeting to have it cleaned up. If it's not cleaned up by May 8th, his fines go to $250 weekly, and we push the housing court immediately. He just keeps slapping us in the face. He's not gonna pay the fines. We gotta do something.
Sure, I understand.
That's my motion.
So, weekly, Starting-
To do it weekly, starting May 8th.
May 8th. Do that weekly for a month?
No.
That-
Keep hanging until it's cleaned up, or until housing court determines what's going on.
Isn't the lot?
Get them in the pocket. We can hit them, we can hit them daily, 250.
Yeah, we can,
So you did the nice thing, and I like your approach at how you're going. We started at monthly, we've been doing it for 5 months, 6 months now, and then you increased it to every other week. Great, we're giving him the opportunity. He's not doing the small steps.
It's not working.
You can't even see it you can't see it. I mean, it's a joke. It's a slap in the face to you. Let's go every week, $250 a week starting May 8th. If he hasn't done anything, also come May 8th, let's approach the housing court and push the issue in the housing court and let them handle it at that point. But still add up his $250 and put it in the housing court's hand,
Yeah, we can.
right? We can do that
We can
legally.
put it in the housing court.
No, let's give him the benefit. I'm willing to give him another
Sure,
month.
sure, okay.
I'll give you another month.
Another
Because
month?
it just seems it's excuse after excuse after excuse where the sun comes in and I mean, we're going on
And I understand.
over
that.
6
And-
months now, and I
and
understand
again,
it was winter, but
consequently, what I identified is that it's adding up to $500 a month.
Not our problem.
I understand.
right now it's at 500.
And that
It's
is,
gonna go to
and that is
1,000,
going
but
to,
I feel bad for the
Actually-
neighbors.
and you know, in all honesty, I was hoping that would be the trigger to initiate compliance. Because most of the time it is, and
I
we find
agree.
the health department
Most of the
successful
time.
when you're getting a punitive damages of that, of 500 plus a month, most would
And I
react.
agree with you 100%, but now I'm hoping where the 500 goes to 1,000 now, maybe.
But we
maybe.
have zero on both. We have zero compliance and we have zero on the fines because you're not paying that either. So we're in neutral to spin our wheels.
Yeah.
So it's about time to really push the buttons that
We're not messing around.
you send, your motion was it to send a notice? Send a
My
notice?
motion was
May 8th.
I wrote to have it
order
cleaned
of,
by
order
May
of
8th.
condition, order of condition to clean, have it cleaned by our May 8th meeting.
Okay, that's what I meant. You're
So we're
gonna,
gonna give him one whole month to clean it, where Dan's still gonna issue his 2-week, twice a month
Yeah.
fine. Come May 8th, if it was not clean, his fine's gonna go to $250 a week, and then Dan's gonna file in housing court.
I know.
But we're
that's
still
what I'm
gonna
using.
continue to fine him that
Correct.
$250.
That's what I have here.
So then maybe we should
Okay.
put their hands are sick and he is.
Because it's just,
Okay,
it's
so
a
maybe
slap in
that
the face
notice
to him,
goes out
it's a slap in the
ASAP,
face to him
just-
and to us
Yeah.
that he refuses to pay it.
you got Gus the second? Okay, any
Can
other?
they say something after May 8th, like a reason why like these things can't happen? Like if somebody is like terminally ill or something like on May 8th, right? Can they come and say or verify the reason why these things haven't been able to happen? And then we can, Okay, but we don't, not, well, maybe you have the money to hire somebody. Yeah, so I don't know that, and I'm not saying that it becomes our issue, but, you know, in this climate, I'm just trying to figure out a way instead of, I know for me, right? And my dad just got diagnosed with brain cancer. I know I would be coming here probably asking for a little forgive. I don't know this, right? But I'm just saying, is there a way where on May 8th, is there something that is satisfied to us where they say, oh, we at least made an appointment to like get it cleaned up by May 19th or something? I don't know.
But you know what?
Been doing it 6 months already with them.
This has been going on for more than half a year. And one person has a problem, we all have problems in our life. If they can't afford it, there's other avenues out there for volunteer agencies and everybody else to come and help. But the whole thing is one piece of the pie at a time. You know, we all have issues in our lives. My house isn't I almost said something. Okay, I keep my house up, and I've got my personal issues with my wife and my mother. But I keep my house up because that's what being an owner is.
Oh, yeah.
To be faithful to your community and your abutters and the rest of the neighborhood. This has been going on for years, and I'm going into double-digit years.
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember when Art owned the spa and he was running the spa, it was terrible.
And it's gotten worse. It's encroaching on the vacant property next door now.
So may I ask the board, when you say it's been problematic, and you say for years, how long? How long has it been
Well, let me put it to you this way.
an issue?
It has been an issue with no way of fixing it until the blight law was put into effect on this board, which was when Dave Adams was on it, what? 6 years ago?
Yeah, 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
And the blight law really hasn't been enforced.
Because the problem is that, you know, that's why the blight law came up, because you've got town bylaws of 2 cars on a piece of property. What do you classify a car with a tree growing through it? I have my opinion.
Vegetation.
I have my opinion. You have your opinion. Some people, and we've had this. And under the town bylaw of 2 unregistered vehicles in the yard, well, if you got a tree going through it, the owner will say it's a lawn ornament, I say it's trash. But these type of incidences spurred the creation of the blight bylaw, and I'm sure the blight bylaw isn't perfect, but it's always evolving because we're finding new speed bumps to try to get something done.
Sure.
And I think we're doing a good job. I mean,
And
there's
at
been
the
a lot
town-
of progress in town.
There's been a lot of progress, and I think there's a lot of appreciative landlords, and I've heard from several of them. Thank you, because I take care of my property, and I thank you for drawing an even keel across the board, because that's the only right thing to do. But I mean, this has been going on long enough, and my opinion is if he wants to come in and say, listen, come look. I got a dumpster in there and I took 2 loads out.
Right.
There was a property not far from him.
Yes. Okay. Then
There
I'm
was a
okay.
property not far from him that was really bad. They were bagged. They had dumpsters come in. They were in communication. I got a dumpster. I just want to let you know, I'm not done. It's going to be emptied. I got another one coming in next week. What more can you ask for?
We
And
laid
the
off.
place
We
was
laid
clean.
off. The place was horrible.
Yes, it's the end goal. What's the goal?
Okay.
But there has been slim to none movement. I think there's been more stuff cleaned up by the wind than it is by the occupants on that piece of property.
So
How's
we
that,
shall
Patty?
move
Good.
forward with that. Said.
But if
From
they
May
say
8th?
something, they said we'll back off. If they
So-
come say something.
Okay.
If
what would
they
you like?
come say something, Kevin said
No, they gotta show like,
Yeah.
he was saying.
Yeah.
You take 2
Well, you
weeks,
want to
go out.
demonstrate a movement
Yeah.
of compliance.
Exactly.
But correct me if I'm wrong, if you're saying, and what you're asking is, hypothetically, if the owners, the true owners there, come to my office,
Not the son, the owner.
not the son,
Yeah.
the owners, the legal
Yeah.
owners, and indicate that there is a chronic illness,
No, if they're
something
gonna
that's-
clean it up, that they're cleaning it up, that
So
they've
Dan-
got the,
I'm gonna take this out of your hands. My motion, as I said it, if the homeowner wants to approach the board,
Okay,
I'll take it out of your hands. They have to approach, if the owner himself, not his son,
Yeah,
wants to
the owner.
approach the board for what she's trying to say, he's gotta have a good reason,
Yeah.
but there is no reason why he can't get some roll-offs in there and
Like
get the
do that.
ball rolling.
yep,
I'm gonna take it
Yeah.
out of
Yeah.
your hands.
Yep.
Well,
Okay.
I'm gonna approach the board.
okay.
yeah.
But we're still
I'd
gonna do
rather-
the fines.
The
Yeah.
fines,
Yeah.
everything like that.
Well, he has a month.
That's
before
the
that starts.
updated and.
He's
still
got
has
one
a
whole,
month,
he's got
yeah.
one whole month, so that thing, like, he's gotta approach the board, that's only if he comes in front of Dan to say something, Dan will turn around and say, you need to approach the board.
I
at
will-
the
I
next
will
meeting."
Because it's
Actually-
gonna be a, they're gonna ask for a,
Just because the
appeal.
board's the one who's.
and they have to appeal to the board.
Yeah, the appeal, and there has been no
Right.
appeals in
We'll do
that,
it,
in
and I'll
that
take it out of your
timeframe,
hands.
and they know that. It's written on every order. What I'll let the board know is I'll add a statement, some thought, something to indicate that that's an opportunity for them.
I can add it to the
Okay.
letter too.
Yeah,
Yeah, put it
well,
right in the
put it
letter,
in the
that way
letter.
there, it takes it out of your hands. since-
I don't know if you
we,
have
the
to or not,
board,
because if the
imposing
board
that.
makes a ruling, the appeal goes to the board, by law.
Yeah, but it does,
So it'll
but
take
then
you out of
nothing,
play.
that's what
Yeah,
That's
it'll
what
take
standard
you
is,
out of
but
play
there
on
has
that.
been no initiative on that, so absolutely it goes in front of
Yep.
appeal.
That would
Yeah,
take
but
you
this,
out of
but
play on it.
it's a generalized statement on each order.
yeah, you've
But
done
what
it,
we'll
yeah.
do on the other ones, Patty, is highlight, make another statement, so bold, May 8th.
Yep.
This is your opportunity, if you're
Whatever.
disgruntled on you don't feel that this is correct,
If not,
you
then,
know.
I agree. and
I don't
Teddy can
even
still
think
go
we
and
go
get
that
his
far.
instructions if he wants.
Huh?
they're not going.
I don't
to-
even think we go that far, because this has been going on long enough.
Gotcha.
I don't think it's up to the town to say, here's your openings.
Yeah,
I think it says that you've been in violation of the blight bylaw since whenever your first paperwork went out. The board took a vote that if you are not going to show compliance with it by the May 8th meeting,
yep,
this will be forwarded to the court systems, and your inspection / fines will be once a week.
yep.
No, I got it.
Anything else?
That's it. I'll go for it.
We got one more.
You
right?
guys, you guys, how many letters have you sent out there?
Did you bring the duct tape?
Again, I'd have to look at it, but
Do
the
you-
series of events was, it started with a month, and it was increased frequency twice, and then slight movements during that time,
Yeah.
it's slight, but what I wanna emphasize with each letter, even the initial ones, there was a response, which
Yeah.
I told more that just didn't go anywhere.
But
One
you
step forward,
but
two
they're
steps
specify
backwards.
first notice, second notice, third notice? No? Okay, so why don't we start with sending out, say, a second notice, highlight it in red, put the conditions down, and in 2 weeks, we send out final notice. If action isn't taken and you don't start doing what you're supposed to do, we can do a clean and lean.
Yes, yes. I think, I agree with the
Whatever
chair
it
as well,
takes.
when he's saying,
Yeah.
we've taken all the proper legal avenues, it's very apparent on the orders.
Yeah.
They're not science papers,
Right,
they're
right.
all identified there, they keep coming along with,
Oh,
the
so much
21D
to do it.
tickets. I don't know what else we could do, it's very apparent that it's not going away, and then my approach was when I had discussions with this gentleman, I always emphasized that to continue to come and these things have to be corrected, so.
I'm just saying, if we do it as a third
Sure.
notice, third and final, and we put it out like, okay, this is your third notice, your final notice. And maybe you give them the option, okay, you know what, if compliance doesn't start to be gained, we're gonna do a clean and lean. And then when it goes to court, we have first, second, and third notice. Third notice is the final notice. And we specified a clean and lean, and the court could actually issue and say, you know what? Maybe you can't, because they're gonna give a sob story or whatever. Maybe you can't do it yourself, so I'm gonna give the town permission to do a clean and lean, and you're gonna pay for it.
Sure.
It just puts that out there so we can at least.
And
jump on it if we
perhaps,
have to.
for more teeth in between these letters, if you can contact the abutters
Yep.
to say, could we have access to your yard to see if we can get more of an eye? And then if you see more buckets, you see more stuff, maybe you can involve the other departments for corrective actions, because
I put here to talk.
we're saying it's hazardous waste. Let us on the property to prove that it's
Right,
out.
right. No, we'll try and get it as a
Yeah.
group effort and try and see if we can get some teeth into it. I know, I feel Dan's pain. I know how this goes. I've been down that road.
Well,
And sometimes it's
we've
hard
been,
to get to the people and reach it the right way.
this board has been fighting with some challenged people all the way to a certain landlord that had the initials HF that was in town that we spent months and months and months and,
Yeah, I know.
um,
So Teddy, are you saying start, I don't wanna use the phrase start over from the beginning?
Nope, nope.
So
No,
when you
just
say,
let me know what's going
yeah,
on.
so the notice he sends out tomorrow or Monday or whatever, is that gonna be?
The second
Yeah.
notice, and 2 weeks from that, we'll send out the third and final.
And that will give them the 2 weeks
And
again
that
till
gives
May
them
8th.
till as you look at
That
that.
date
it's
to
a
that.
week.
Yep.
Then we'll be
That'll
at
be a
May
month.
8th, after 2.
Yep, it gives them to May 8th.
yep,
to start
that'll be the
coming
2
to
weeks,
compliance,
2 weeks.
Or we will actively go for a cleaning week.
Okay.
Done.
So do I need to change my motion to coincide with that?
No,
No,
no.
it's gonna fit right in.
Okay, and under the law, is he already at the maximum time level?
Is he up?
Is he
I
already
don't
at the
know.
maximum time level?
Is there a
Close,
maximum?
there is no maximum.
When-
I don't think there is a
I thought-
max.
I
There is
thought-
none. It
I
says
thought
on,
the way-
it's
I thought the way
250
it's up is
per
3.
day. Per
250
day.
per
No, no,
day, 250
that's-
per day is the max,
Per day per violation.
Yeah.
per violation, but there's no
And-
maximum amount.
And we've been, again, very generous and kind, because that can be applied daily, right? So it's
Right.
every, so
I believe
If
that's
you
the
turn up the
max,
frequency-
250 per day.
per day, 250 per 30 days
Per day.
of
Per violation.
non-compliance will add up.
Per violation per day. That's what I mean, yeah.
So each barrel,
At 250 per day?
Each vehicle.
Yeah.
That's
No,
much.
because it'll be $1,000.
25, that's 2,500 every 10 days, 25, 5,000, 7,500, 75, close to a month.
7,500 a month on 30 days.
In theory, that could be applied legally. That's,
All right, that's my motion.
All right, so
All
we
right.
had a motion and a second.
I just need a vote.
All those in favor? Unanimous of the board.
And the
Thank you.
townspeople.
And him.
Thanks,
Okay.
Dan.
yep.
Morris Street Golf Course. What's the, where's that sitting?
Morris Street, they,
It's like I said the
Suppose-
last meeting. Summer's coming. Neighbors are nervous.
Yep.
no, we have spoken to him. He's coming in with a new site plan for the property across the street from Big Y. They changed their design and stuff. He's supposed to be coming in to talk to us about that as he talks to us about that. He already told me he's gonna take it down. I am gonna get a start and a completion date. I haven't been able to talk to him. He's been abroad trying to do his charitable events thing. So
yes.
I
But
think when he is coming back though, to.
Tell him to
pitch
be
his new thing.
charitable to his neighborhood.
So, an associate of his was in the office for food, I talked to him, and she did indicate the same, that the idea, and he's hopeful to just take the building down. It's at
It
that
is
point.
bad.
But- Because it kept getting, my experience, boarded up, secured, semi-secured, and then it just ripped, and people are getting back in.
Somebody's gonna get hurt and they're never gonna find him
Pretty much.
until the odor.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I want to talk to Grace about that. Okay.
Any announcements?
The announcements, I will defer that to Patty Julian, make that announcement to everybody.
September 7th, no, just kidding, May 7th, we're doing a anti-choking course for any restaurant in town that has 25 or more seats. It's $20 a person. We're recommending that more than one person do it, as there should be one person per shift that has the certificate.
Mason?
May 7th at 9 a.m. He said it'll be about an hour. It's gonna be in the Rice Conference Room.
How many restaurants does this apply
What did we have, 41?
About 41, 25
Yeah.
seats or more, that's where the law applies.
Okay.
And so somebody has to be there all during time of food service.
Right, yeah.
And so,
Somebody small
She said
like
a
Great
shift,
Oak
2
that you
shifts.
wouldn't think they can seat more than 25 people.
so what we do is we've
If you
been
wouldn't think,
speaking
you haven't
with
been in it.
the building department
That big.
to ascertain who has the 25
Seat
seats
to
or more,
everybody.
you know? And they're
That's what
on
I'm
there.
used to.
It's not mandatory though, is it?
What's that?
Is it
Yes.
mandatory?
It is mandatory.
For each
As of
restaurant?
January 1st of 2026, if you do not have this course, you cannot do your permit over. You cannot renew it.
So, I understand that, I agree with it, but like you were saying, at least one person per shift has to mandatory be in
At
the
all
premises
times.
at all times,
At
so.
all times during food service.
Okay.
Somebody has to be there with the anti-choking certificate. So you think about a
That's why
restaurant,
I'm-
there's gonna be 2 shifts, right?
2 people.
Or if you have somebody working all day, but somebody legally has to be there to cover.
And are these gonna be rolled out? Because I think about staff turnover, like, I mean, not have the same person on second
Well, that-
shift all the time.
And that's what we're hoping for is, and we're addressing that and giving insight to the restaurants that just don't send one person because you're just gonna,
The
you're not in
restaurants
full
that have
compliance.
signed up so far have each done 2.
Yeah,
We have notified them, all
I sent out
restaurants?
letters.
Okay, perfect.
Next week.
How many-
Next week, I'm going out with my list to each restaurant.
How many restaurants have not replied?
Oh, I think.
Was it more not replied than replied?
No, I just sent them out.
Oh, okay.
So currently 41.
There's
So what?
41 total restaurants?
So currently 41 are not.
No, 3 have replied. I just sent it out, I think, like last Thursday.
Okay.
anything else, Patty? Thank you for that clarification. Well done.
2 things. Has there been any more water shut-offs?
I
Yeah,
again,
I
Oh,
wait,
no, wait a minute.
the water
If I'm
shut.
not mistaken, they're not starting again till, what did he say? May?
Somewhere in May, yeah.
Somewhere in
I
there,
think it's
yeah,
May.
That's right.
They coincide.
So
with
I was
Not
hoping that
tax
this
bills.
is May already.
They coincide with the tax bills.
Michelle hasn't been here, so there definitely hasn't
Right.
been any of that.
Yeah,
Okay,
it won't go till the tax bills.
what?
You done?
I'm gonna let you
Done
go
or
before I
done?
finish.
I just, Dan, can you elaborate, this week we received 3 or 4 emails, can you elaborate more in regards to what the process is for beaver permits?
Well, the beaver permits,
We got quite a few this week.
yeah, well, beavers are active.
Yeah.
It's the time of year. Unfortunately, one of which has been very common, the Cohasset Reservoir,
Mhm.
through the water department. It just, the number 3 reservoir is constantly needing to have the beavers rest. So there's a problem there, obviously it's drinking water. And now, the fact that the other locations, the water has swelled significantly from a property that is very close to the school, and then leading into the school, this channel of water that's adversely impacting the septic wells. And quite honestly, it could be personally affecting the children, because the beavers are right there, and we all know they're vectors of certain diseases, Giardia. And it's just continuously growing. So those were filed for, the applications, on the channels from a homeowner and the school department, Mark. So we did go out there a number of times, and we witnessed the water rising significantly day after day. So it is problematic. The process is, they are issued a 10-day emergency beaver permit, in which that permit will allow for the use of conibear traps, which is a more effective trap. It is also, what I understand, licensed trapper, it is trapping season where they can use other types of traps that are not as effective, like the box traps.
Yep.
So through the laws, that can be done,
But
anytime.
it has to be a licensed trapper.
It has to be a licensed trapper, yes, yes. And what I'm not a licensed trapper, but the ones that, individuals that, what I understand is to become a licensed trapper, there's a number of steps that can be taken with the NT wildlife, fisheries and wildlife. So that's where we are. And our applications, and on there identifies the trapper, who it is. And as long as they're licensed, they have that 10-day window. They can reapply if in fact the health hazard is still there because of the beavers, and they're not trapped. And many times that within that 10-day window, the rodents are trapped and the problem is eliminated. But I have experience where it's taken double, where there's a large family or they just can't get them and they continue. So if there is a perceived health hazard, which is broad, we ascertain it myself, then they can be issued that permit and they can move forward. But what I could say, the school and the location of, that's new, but the water department and those reservoirs have been a constant issue for, and what I understand, for years. That number 3. So we have issued copies,
Caught
3.
off guard with the school and the one across from the school, those are new ones.
What I'm hearing more being problematic and more of a concern is the school, for obvious reasons.
Okay.
Okay.
My concern is following, we had a long discussion, you and I. And my question is, I know one of the permits was given out Monday, why didn't they come here?
Well, they would, to the
Because
board?
the CMR, 321 CMR 2.08, Board of Health approves the permits.
That's correct. And I work
The
as
discussion that you and I had, which we rectified this back in 2019 because the beavers at the reservoirs is a public safety, a public health issue set forth by DEP. And this board at the time sat here, and I've been dealing this a long time with my experience with this. When they're active, you gotta trap them. So there's a window. If the water supply had to wait 3 weeks, they might lose that window. So this board took action that for the watershed only. So we do not violate the CMRs, that the agent can issue the permit. If the agent is unavailable, whoever the chair is can issue the permit for the watershed only. And then the rest of the board is notified. But now these other two are not anything to do with the watershed.
Right. My discussion, what I understand with you, is that I, as the director, issue the permit. And what I can tell you, Chair, is handing these out for the last 10 years, I have not once, in my experience, brought it forth to the board for their approval. Not once.
You haven't been working here for 10 years, Dan, and on all previous boards before you were here, everybody came to the board because we followed the laws. That being said,
I would disagree with you.
I don't care if you disagree or not.
would
Here's a
disagree.
copy for
I-
you, it's black and white.
I know how to read
Okay.
the rules. And I know the law.
You are,
And I know the law.
so do I. You are an
And
agent
our
of the
discussion,
board.
and our discussion.
And that is
and
not what
our
I said.
discussion was nothing what you're indicating right now.
That is not what I said, so obviously
Absolutely.
I
I
cannot
disagree
trust
with
having
you.
a one-on-one with you because you spin it every time and I have to
That
have
is
a
not
witness.
right. That is not right. You are out of line,
You are
Chair.
about as
We talked about this, that the board would receive copies of the permits. There was
On
never
the
any discussion
watershed.
where there would be a requirement of these individuals, the applicants, coming in to discuss this with the borough. Not once. I disagree with you wholeheartedly. Maybe that is your interpretation. but
Before
that is
you, they always
erroneous,
did.
And I disagree with you.
I don't care if you did or not, you're an
But
agent of the
you are-
board.
But what you are saying right now is divorced of the reality and truth and absolutely absurd of what we discussed. So,
Boy.
you can sit here and grandstand in front of
I am
everybody
not
and indicate,
grandstanding
but I will
because I do
not
not
tolerate
have to.
that. No, I will not. I will not. I disagree with you.
I do not have to grandstand, okay? Because there's been a lack of information passed on from your office forever. And
Lack
that's
of
why I asked you if you had anything else.
And let me ask you,
And-
Chair, are you gonna go out to the field and inspect for the, are you?
Take a 5-minute recess. Take a 5-minute recess.
Were you done with your report?
Huh?
Are you done with your report? Because I have a question.
I am, at this point, Chair, no further comment. I'm done discussing. Anything in relation right now. This is your meeting, you can continue on. But it will not be done with me.
What happened with the
Thank you.
appointment
Have
at
a
the
good
other?
night.
Okay, walk
Consider that
out.
resignation?
Huh?
Should you consider that resignation?
Mr. Chair, I request a 5-minute recess.
I've been divorced 3 times, it's,
Yes, no?
Okay, we'll come back at 5 minutes.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to play baseball.
Did it go on?
And for the first time ever, I've seen
Just wanna be sure.
on the ground. First I touched you fell.
Is you coming back? Okay, we're gonna call the meeting back to order.
See, I didn't get that poster.
Calling the meeting back to order. We will move to 11, Town Agent for Solid Waste and Recyclable Materials. Report on curbside items, violations, issues, so on and so forth.
Good evening.
There was no, was there any commitment letters for this?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank goodness. So the curbside billing will be going out next week for the 4th quarter of the curbside pickup. I want to make an announcement. A couple of things. Leaf and yard waste pickup begins April 21st through May 31st. Place all of your leaf bags, yard waste out on the curb on the day of your collection by 7 a.m. It could be 3 bags, it could be 25 bags, as long as your curbside pickup is being picked up by the municipal contract and you're paying for it through the town, you will get yard waste pickup.
Does it still, there was something in the regulation about open containers?
Open containers
So they can have
is
open
acceptable,
containers as-
yes,
okay,
yes,
thank you.
In addition to the leaf and yard waste dumpsters at the DPW will be available the first week of June. For those again wanting to dispose of yard waste, it will be available the first week of June. Saturdays from 12 to 4 at the DPW yard, 185 Gulfwood Road. The second announcement is Household Hazardous Waste Day. Woo-hoo! That's scheduled for Saturday, May 3rd, 9 to 1. The flyer is posted on the town's website. What we are accepting new this year are textiles, shoes, jackets, linens. We'll have a textile box there. In addition to mattresses and box spring is a new item that we will be collecting for $65. Checks only, please.
Just on the mattresses and boxes.
And box springs, correct. Any electronics will be, depending on what the size is, it'll be either 5, 10, or 20, small, medium, or large. Chemicals, oil-based paints, batteries, light bulbs, pesticides, all of that good stuff is free of charge. Tires are $5, they can go up to 20 if they're tractor trailers, with or without rims. Beautify Southbridge is scheduled for May 17th, with the rain date of that Sunday, the 18th, from 8:30 a.m. till noon time. All are welcome to clean up the town. This is for all of us. We will be meeting here at the town hall. Registration will begin at 7:45, and then you can pick your own neighborhood. We can assign an area to you. We'll have hopefully bags and some extra grabbers for, folks to utilize. All are welcomed, again, from, kindergarten to the elderly. Yeah, there's advertisements all around town. Everything's posted on the website. I did audio for the radio, audio for the cable access channel, so we're working on that. As far as the letters that went out, I want everyone to know that, well, yes, there have been a lot of phone calls. And don't get me wrong, I welcome the phone calls because it gives me an opportunity to educate the property owners. And with that being said, we're not gonna go on personal property. We're not gonna go up your driveway. If we see it from the road, from the sidewalk, from our trucks, our vehicles, then we will send you a letter. Just a simple notification. You get that letter, you call us. We're not issuing citations right away. The goal here is to educate. The goal here is to communicate, get contact information from the property owners. So when there are events like this, we can email them. So I think that's it.
One question on the hazardous waste day. We're still not taking devices with Freon, air conditioners.
No white goods. That is on the flyer.
Okay.
Maybe next year. We're
I know we
building
talked
this
about
up.
trying.
Right, well,
Yeah.
so October was our first household hazardous waste event sponsored by the town. This would be our second one, so the way I envision it is every year it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So we had to start slow. That went well. Hopefully this second round will go even better and, just spread the word. If anybody has any questions, the phone number is 508-764-5354.
June 1st starts the dumpsters at the DPW.
That is correct.
Every Saturday, 12 to 4,
Yes.
until,
We don't have that date yet, so we need to see how the spring, summer, and
Okay.
fall goes. If it's a dry, season, then, yeah,
okay.
we'll play it by ear.
On that point, is there any reason you're waiting till June? It seems a little late in the season.
Good question, Kevin. So we want the community and all the property owners to take advantage of the
Can't you
curbside,
train
because
him?
essentially that's what they're paying for.
I have a kid.
The trash recycling and yard
Well, you got
waste.
multiple people.
And I know it's not easy putting them inside the small paper bags, but reach out to your neighbors, hey.
I'm talking about the DPW.
Well, that's why, because it starts April 21st curbside through May 31st. Once that is over, they can utilize the dumpsters instead
It's
of
only a
having,
couple weeks.
the leaf and yard waste curbside and the dumpsters.
I
Does that make
didn't,
sense?
I didn't realize you were trying to avoid that overlap. I'm just
Yeah.
thinking seasonal wise, a lot of yard cleanup gets done
Right.
prior to June, but,
Right.
um,
But that's why it's so hard to explain and educate everyone that it's April 21st through May 31st. Put out all the yard waste out there and it'll get picked up.
now the dumpsters at the DPW are available to all residents or just residents who are in the program?
In the program.
No,
No?
all
Was
residents.
I wrong? Okay, sorry, my
Okay.
apologies, all
Okay.
residents.
All right.
That's
Because
right,
that's-
that's paid separately.
That's separate than curbside.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a quick question. How are we paying for this? How is this being funded?
How was it what?
How is it being funded?
Which part?
He's not speaking now.
The hazardous waste day.
You gotta speak up. She's gonna yell
How
at you.
are we funding the hazardous waste days?
That is also part of the
Curbside.
curbside program.
It's in the contract? Oh, okay.
Because that's why some of the stuff is free,
Yeah.
and some you pay for offset.
Right.
Breaking the bank.
Tires.
TVs.
Okay, that's it, right? Okay. All right, 12 doesn't apply because we have no commitments today. So Chair and Members Forum,
I got nothing.
Shocking.
thank you.
All right, I do have something.
See you.
I have to
See you
close some
there.
work, so
Yeah, oh,
you can wait till she's done. I got a question.
yeah, I can do it.
The mattresses, do they have to be wrapped in plastic like
They
before?
do not.
Okay.
Good question. So we will have a dumpster there. The property owners and or residents, they will bring it to the DPW and they will alone, by themselves, load it into the dumpster. So they could be wrapped, unwrapped, but they're the ones that are going to be handling it,
Okay,
okay?
thank you.
Good point.
Right, good.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Shocking,
Mr. Steeds.
I don't know.
I'm good.
No way.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I've got just a couple positive things here. Thursday, April 3rd, I attended the Region 2 Public Health Emergency Preparedness Meeting in Worcester. They had equipment, they've gone through the cycle 4, I believe, of the equipment grant. I applied for materials. This is strictly for the emergency dispensing site situation, unfortunately, instead of including shelter materials. So it was presented to the committee, and it was voted unanimously by the Region 2 committee to send it to OPEC. And the total is $13,643.34 of equipment to supplement what we already have
Okay.
for the emergency dispensing site. There was input from many people. My experience with the COVID clinic, all the way back with H1N1, the town has always borrowed and requested equipment. So now we'll have a step up on our own cash. Yeah, that was the fourth quarter each. While I was there, they introduced us to some equipment that was available downstairs if you want it. So I came back with 4 more A-frame signs, similar to what you see on the street advertising the hazardous waste day, 2 privacy screens, and 3 large signs. The inserts for those signs that will be enter, exit, and please wait. Okay, these are all designed for our emergency dispensing site, but of course, as long as they're available for the site, we can always acquire them for other avenues like the hazardous waste day. So that's a positive. There is, I attended 2 hours today for a framework on an emergency preparedness plan, and this was just a framework. And what I plan on, because there was very limited information prior, and I don't even know if we had, do you know if we ever had a Board of Health emergency plan? Or was it just a snippet in the town's plan?
There's nothing, we were actually just talking about it the other day, there's nothing for the whole town hall.
No, but I'm saying they got an emergency operating plan and a coup plan through the emergency management department. And you don't know if we have one.
I think that would be a Dan question.
Well, I did find out his predecessor was working on stuff that was unbeknownst to us, and when I had a meeting with him, I found out that the plan is that if the town hall ever went down, the Board of Health operation moves to the DPW. I didn't even know that. Did you know that? So a plan's no good if it's not
If we
made
don't know
available.
about it, yeah.
Okay,
Maybe we should
So-
have Paul come in and talk to us about that.
pardon me?
Maybe Paul Norman could come in and talk to us about
I was
this.
just
Might-
Well, I have to,
what we're
I've got
doing.
to, I gotta sit with him
Yeah,
and TJ to find out if there is a Board of Health plan as a chapter in the townwide plan?
Right, I didn't know.
And if so, I don't know how much he's expanded it, because I know they just went through it again.
Yeah, relatively soon.
So this is a new situation that may, the one I did, the workshop I did today, may help, may be useless, he might already have it already, but it's a step forward. I know in the past, we've had different plans for different EDS sites. We exercised it back in H1N1 in the schools, and we actually had one this close to doing a drive-through at the DPW, and then COVID hit.
I know that.
But we have the plan somewhere in paper. So that's why it's, what does that mean?
When I was on the protections of persons and property subcommittee, I believe Paul Long did come forward with an emergency management plan.
No, I know he has one. They have to.
Yeah.
But they have a flood dam, they have a flood plan, they have a dangerous dam plan, and I wanna see if,
Right, but I remember he said something about a townwide blanket.
yeah, that's what I wanna see, if the Board of Health,
Yep.
if he's addressing
What
the
our
health
cha- what our
concerns.
chapter is, yeah.
Yeah.
I understand.
So, we've got some supplies, I already brought some back. The only unfortunate thing that I have to say, that I couldn't request earlier, is that apparently there was a visit to the back room of the Armory, and I've reached out to Paul, and apparently a notice went out to Tri-Epic that it was infested with mice, again. And they have until the end of the month to get Tri-Epic to get in there and inspect their equipment. The unfortunate thing is I got a notice by the fire chief asking me if I knew anything, because we also have EDS supplies in there and shelter supplies, and our fire chief, emergency management director, and nobody else. He had to be notified by Tri-Epic, and that's a sad state of affairs.
Yeah.
So
So-
I will tell you that there was an appointment made.
There was an appointment made previously by the fire chief to get help to move shelter materials.
So they were supposed to meet at the senior center yesterday at 10 a.m. to go through the trailers and the back room. Then
What
Mr.
trailers?
Normandin, there's 2 trailers out back.
The trailers don't belong to us.
That's what's supposed to be gone through, and then Mr. Normandin said he thought it was on Friday.
No, the trailers do not belong to us, they belong to Tri-Epic. That's a regional thing, and they have a process if you want to borrow equipment. One trailer is for shelter, one trailer is for a secondary hospital. The back room has multiple supplies. It has some Tri-Epic supplies, some CERT supplies, Southbridge shelter materials, there's a pallet of cots, and there's some EDS supplies. And there's also the fire truck that used to sit upstairs,
It's still there.
okay? So, I saw the email from Paul, he wanted to get there to get help to take the shelter supplies and move it into the shelter trailer that they just got refurbished, for lack of a better term. Because I got that in a grant many years ago. So they got the tires, new tires, brakes, all this other stuff, which I think that's housed right now outside in the parking lot of the police station, because that's secure. Sitting at the Armory was not secure and it got damaged. So I know that's what his reach out was to see about getting help on that. And I was just made, and he didn't make the meeting, obviously, but it's like I had said to Teddy, you know, with the letter that went out, we're getting these questions and we don't know squat. And that's very disheartening.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, things fester, when if we knew the information, we could have nipped it in the bud right there.
Yep.
It took me 3/4 of an hour to get down one aisle at Big Y, because I had people asking me outraged about the letter.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's
we're
like-
getting yelled at every day.
And it's like, I understand nobody's perfect, everybody makes mistake, maybe we can get an informational thing out next time, but that's up to Teddy, you know? listen, we're sending out an informational thing, it doesn't mean you've been a bad boy or a bad girl or whatever it is, to let them know. But I know, you probably get it, you probably got the phone calls, I know she got the phone calls. I mean, it's terrible when you go to sit down with a coffee and relax and you get, and you don't know anything. Well, aren't you the chair? I don't know, I thought so. But we'll just have to work through it.
Of course, we're not getting information
But-
anyway half the time, so. I know I didn't get anything about the behavior issues at all from.
But that's all I have. Hopefully end on a positive note that it's gone to OPEC, so OPEM, which is the next step up to be approved to make sure it's all for EDS. Because some people tried to sneak some stuff in and it might have been for shelters, or you're only allowed 2 laptops and some people wanted some more. So they have checks and balances on their grants. So hopefully I'll hear pretty soon, and then we'll have to go out to Worcester with 2 trucks and figure out where we're gonna put them. But 13 grand of stuff, name it. Including a label maker to mark our damn stuff so nobody else walks away with it. So. Okay. Nothing else? We'll discuss the next meeting date, Thursday, I propose Thursday, May 8th, 2025, 6 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Okay.
What is that supposed to mean?
All in favor?
Hey.
Adjourned at 7:53. How's that?